Do you remember sitting in history class and hearing your teacher talk about the Holocaust for the first time? Perhaps it was when you watched Schindler's List. Do you remember how your stomach dropped and how you felt sick learning about how Hitler and his Nazis brutally murdered over 6 million Jews for simply the crime of being Jewish? Hatred towards Israel and Jewish people is nothing new. Even dating back to Bible times, there was a concerted effort to destroy the Jews and all that they stood for. From the Philistines to Rome to Nazi Germany, Jews have faced attack after attack. You'd think after the Holocaust, we'd vow to never allow atrocities like this to ever happen again. Oh wait, I think we did that. But unfortunately, it seems we have very short memories. Anti-Semitic attacks against Jews in the United States are rising at an alarming rate, making Jews the most targeted religious group in the United States today.
Anti-Semitic incidents hit a record high last year in the United States.
At least 3 separate hate crime incidents in different neighborhoods.
In New York and Los Angeles, after anti-Semitic attacks in those cities, there has been a troubling rise in such incidents ever since the fighting broke out in the Middle East.
In 2021 alone, hate crimes towards Jews rose a staggering 50%.
Lawmakers on both sides criticized the Democratic Congresswoman for comparing the human rights records of the United States and Israel with terrorist groups like Hamas and the Taliban in a tweet.
Progressive leaders like Representative Ilhan Omar, BLM, big tech, liberal colleges, and celebrities who support anti-Semitic movements like Free Palestine are leading the charge.
She basically, saying that we have to have solidarity.
Stick with us today. You're not going to want to miss this episode on attacks against Israel in the U.S. and how as Christians, we must not waver in our support of this chosen nation. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Miles, and you're watching Church and State.
My name is Lucas Miles. I'm an ordained minister and best-selling author. The church has been invaded. By whom? Same ideology that's attacking our state, Marxism.
They want a church that bows down to the state. They want a church that worships the state.
So if you want to stay informed on the most critical issues regarding religious freedom and the Christian faith, then you've come to the right place. This is Church and State.
Welcome back to Church and State. I'm your host, Lucas Miles, and today we're looking at how American progressives are becoming increasingly more hostile toward Israel and the Jewish people. In fact, according to The Hill, anti-Semitism, that is the hatred of Jewish people, is becoming a normalized aspect of liberal discourse in the U.S. As many of you know, progressive and liberals are quick to condemn racism. That is, unless it's racism towards Israel and its people. In fact, the only time I can remember leftist elites coming to the aid of Israel is in the recent uprising against Kanye West due to his perceived anti-Semitic statements on social media. And I'm convinced that the left's outrage really wasn't indicative of their support for Israel or the Jewish people, as much as it was just their strong disdain that they have for Kanye.
Also, it's funny that he starts his threat with, "I'm a bit sleepy tonight." What is that? What is that? Does anti-Semitism make you tired? Is that why MAGA people love the My Pillow guy? Is that what this is? But I will say, man, I feel bad for American right-wingers, because they're getting Kanye now. They're getting this Kanye. It's like getting to date the high school prom king, but decades after high school.
I mean, how many talk show hosts, rappers, and comedians have we heard tell horrific jokes about the Holocaust or state gross Jewish stereotypes?
Trevor Noah won't take the anchor desk for months, but he's already in the hot seat, with online critics saying some of his tweets are sexist and anti-Semitic.
Welcome back, Mr. Disney.
Are the Jews gone yet?
No.
Put me back in.
Israel is reporting that they vaccinated half of their population. And I'm going to guess it's the Jewish half.
The American Jewish Committee is demanding NBC apologize, calling the joke anti-Semitic.
The Holocaust isn't about race. It's about man's inhumanity to man.
Where's the leftist outrage in those instances? Unfortunately, though, the attacks against Israel are often comprised of more than just words. Take a look.
Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say they are Jews, and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come and worship before your feet. And I know that, know that I have loved you. You see, you get out of my face and I will slap you right in your nose, man. Back up from me. I'm not no Christian pastor. Back the fuck up from me, bro. What are you gonna do? Well then fuck off. Simple as that. Listen, these people are imposters trying to claim our heritage and they're trying to tell me that it's cool. and they funded the slave trade. That's okay.
New surveillance video released late tonight of one of the attacks in Brooklyn. Investigators say 3 men who were driving in a blue Toyota began yelling anti-Jewish statements at a small group outside of a synagogue.
They actually tried to enter the synagogue, and when this door was locked on them, out of frustration, they walked over to a vehicle parked right in front and broke the mirror of the vehicle.
Police believe this same group is behind another attack along Ocean Parkway. Investigators say 2 teens were told to repeat anti-Semitic statements. When they refused, they were punched in their heads.
Justice will be served.
But when we see videos like this, why should we even be surprised? When we have elected officials who participate in hurling verbal remarks against Israel. Perhaps most notorious for this behavior, of course, is the squad in Congress, especially Representative Ilhan Omar, who leaves no doubt how she feels about Israel and the Jewish people.
We are going to fight this administration and the oppressive Netanyahu administration until we take our last breath.
As it stands, anti-Semitism in the U.S. is becoming so bad that many Jews are even finding themselves excluded from certain clubs and groups on college campuses and other places just because they're Jewish.
Swastikas were being spray painted in my locker area. They were saying Hail Hitler.
I, a Jewish kid born in Dallas, was bullied on a daily basis for my religion for almost 2 years in this very district, nearly driving me to suicide before thankfully being removed from the environment thanks to an administrator. I still struggle with the depression that started at Dawson Middle School in 2003 to this very day.
ADL reports that 1/3 of Jewish college students have been faced with anti-Semitic comments or other abuses. In fact, earlier this year, UC Berkeley was accused of allowing Jew-free zones within certain student groups on campus.
The dean of the law school denies a rash of media reports about Jewish free zones at the university are not true. Dean Erwin Chemerinsky says fewer than 10 student organizations have adopted anti-Israel bylaws, which include a ban against pro-Israel speakers.
The notion that it should be, acceptable for only 9 student organizations at a law school to exclude Jews from opportunities just because there are others that say it's okay. What would he say if the mayor said there are 9 neighborhoods where Black, Hispanic, or Chinese people can't live, but don't worry because there are many others where they can live?
Here's the reality. When we normalize and accept anti-Semitism in culture, it enables abuse and discrimination of Jews.
Several signs targeting Jewish people reading, "It's okay to be anti-Semitic," were spotted in downtown St. Albans.
Of course, we can't talk about anti-Semitism without also talking about Zionism, which is the term for the protection of Israel as a Jewish nation. You know, in the past, this was simply just a pro-Israel view. Individuals held to the idea that the people of Israel had a right to their own state. But today, Zionism is being coined as an inherent white supremacist ideology. Of course, this also ties into Christianity. Many Christians hold to some sort of Christian Zionist viewpoint that sees the state of Israel or the nation of Israel as the location in which the end-time events that are described in the book of Revelation will surround and center upon. And so the subtext here is that anyone who holds to any form of Zionism, that could be a Jew who believes in the right to the nation of Israel, or a non-Jew who believes in the right to the nation of Israel, or a Christian who believes in the importance of Israel when it comes to end-time events, that all of these beliefs are inherently white supremacist ideology and should therefore be rejected. That's the type of anti-Semitism that's so prevalent today in our progressive culture. The flip side of this is a movement known as Free Palestine. Free Palestine specifically is a movement that not only wants Palestinian people back in control of the area of Israel, but also opposes Israel's very existence. In fact, you'll be hard-pressed to find a progressive or an individual on the left who does not support Free Palestine. People who support this movement want to eradicate Israel and the Israeli people. This movement's not so different from the one that drove Germany to murder over 6 million Jews. A few examples of support for this group include, first off, a BLM subgroup that accused Israel of genocide. In A Vision for Black Lives, Ben Duga-Kabuye wrote, "The U.S. justifies and advances the global war on terror via its alliance with Israel and is complicit in the genocide taking place against the Palestinian people." When confronted, the author stood by this statement. Many popular A-list celebrities have voiced their support behind Free Palestine as well. Some names that you might know are Emma Watson from the Harry Potter franchise, Mark Ruffalo from Avengers, pop singer and Christian Selena Gomez, Natalie Portman from Thor, model Bella Hadid, the singer The Weeknd, and pop star Dua Lipa. In fact, during a Free Palestine march attended by model Bella Hadid, a Jewish man was brutally attacked and beaten. Neither Hadid nor march organizers released a statement condemning his attack. But this episode on anti-Semitism wouldn't be complete without also acknowledging the role big tech plays in furthering hatred against Israel. The Center for Countering Digital Hatred found that tech giants aren't removing the majority of anti-Semitic content. In fact, it seems Facebook allows the most, with 89% of anti-Semitic posts remaining on the platform. The CCDH said that social media provides safe places to spread racism and propaganda against Jews. Now, let me be clear. I'm not a big fan of censorship on social media, but when you look at what is censored and what isn't, it tells you something about the priorities that the leftist elites who run these platforms actually hold to. When a Bible verse is flagged as hate speech and removed, yet an anti-Semitic comment is allowed simply because a cherished celebrity or a member of the squad posted it. In talking about Free Palestine, its organizers accuse Israel of being an apartheid state because of their, quote, oppression against the Palestinians. Apartheid is defined as a racist system that revokes basic human rights of people of another race or ethnicity. Look at Israel. If it's an apartheid state, then how can their Arab population be allowed to be judges, journalists, artists, own their own businesses, etc.? If Israel is truly an apartheid state, then the fact of the matter is they aren't very good at it. So when we look at all this, we have to ask the question, why is there so much hatred towards the Jewish people and towards the state of Israel? As people of faith, we could say that many denominations within Christianity hold to some form of Christian Zionism. That is, that when you read the book of Revelation and other parts of the New Testament, that it seems that the majority of the end time events that we see described in Revelation are going to take place in and around the nation of Israel. I think this is one reason why there is a consistent attack and hatred towards Israel. Biblically speaking, we know that anyone who accepts God's gift of salvation and puts their faith in Christ is part of God's family. We refer to that as spiritual Israel. But the Bible also talks about the nation of Israel and the people of Israel being God's chosen nation. And as Christians, we know that Satan hates anything that God loves. And I believe that he'll stop at nothing to destroy it. In Germany, the Holocaust took place because the Nazis saw Jews as less than human, dirty rodents that needed to be exterminated for the good of the nation and the world. They believed them something to be wiped out. And if we're not careful, we could find ourselves heading down this horrid path again. I can remember personally being in Germany for the first time and visiting the concentration camp Dachau. I can't even portray the emotion that you feel as you walk through the camp, as you see the places in which the Jews were funneled into gas chambers in order to be exterminated. How that makes you feel, literally seeing the imagery, the pictures, imagining yourself in that situation. It's horrid. And I believe if we're not careful, we could find ourselves heading down the same path again. Hopefully by now you recognize why it's so important that America and Christians support Israel. America is arguably Israel's most ardent supporter, and it's vital that it stays that way. This was especially true under the direction of former President Donald Trump, who was arguably the most pro-Israel president this country has ever seen. And for those who are looking for a biblical argument on why we should support Israel, let me give you a couple different passages here. First off, let's take a look at Genesis 12, 1 through 3. It says this, it says, "Now the Lord said to Abram, get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house to a land that I will show you. And I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, and I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Also in Genesis 15:18 says that on the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, to your descendants, that is the people of Israel, I have given this land from the river of Egypt to the great river, the river Euphrates. Also in Deuteronomy 7:6-8, it says, for you are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for himself, a special treasure above all the peoples on the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love on you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any people, for you were the least of all peoples, but because the Lord loves you, and because he would keep the oath which he swore to your fathers. In short, these verses show that God will bless nations who protect Israel and curse those who don't. And I think it's important that we're on the right side of that equation. The attacks we're seeing on our Jewish brothers and sisters are abhorrent. And as Christians, we need to be standing up, never wavering in our support for the nation of Israel. The Bible is clear about the importance of protecting Israel, and we'd be making a grave mistake by ever disregarding that command. As a pastor, look, I'm well aware of the fact that the church is the new Israel, but I will not deny that God has gifted the most valuable pieces of our faith through the nation of Israel. John 4:22, it says that because of Jesus, salvation is from the Jews. Our Bible, in fact, is a Jewish book given by inspiration from God, and our Savior, Jesus, was born a Jew himself. Got Questions, a Christian website that answers questions about God and the Bible, sums it up well. They say, quote, while we do not have to support everything Israel does as a nation, we should most definitely support Israel's right to exist. God will fulfill his promises and covenants with Israel. God still has a plan for Israel. Woe to anyone who seeks to defeat that plan. When we look back at anti-Semitism, whether it be in Rome, in Nazi Germany, or today, I believe that every time anti-Semitism presents itself, persecution of Christians soon follows. This is why it's more important than ever that Christians stand with the nation of Israel. Regardless of your end times beliefs, I believe that it is important that we stand beside the people of Israel and their right to exist. I want to thank you for joining me today on this special episode of Church and State. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Miles. Stand strong and keep the faith.
If I'm lost along the way, if I wander off onto a different trail, will you forgive me if I fail when I'm lost?